Welcome back to series 2 of You, Me and Design.
Cheers.
Cheers. We're actually having a coffee today.
Yes, we've had a change from the cocktails.
Had a change. I'm actually not drinking. So far I've been 5 weeks with no alcohol.
Yeah.
And because of surgery, I have another maybe 6 to 8 weeks to go of no alcohol. So yeah, we'll be having coffee for the foreseeable, but very excited to be back. And for anyone new here, this is an interior design podcast. We will be covering all topics going forward. So every week will be dedicated to something completely different, whether it's a really small thing like, well, I think it's a big thing, but a paint colour. It seems to be something that takes forever to decide. For me, it's a really big thing. All the way through to like renovating your entire home. And we're husbands. My name's Toby.
And I'm Mikey.
Why is that so awkward? And I'm
Mikey.
And yeah, we've basically been living in our small cottage, which is between Bath and Bristol in the UK, for...
It's like nearly exactly 5 years to the day, which is scary.
Yeah, 5 years next month, which is bizarre. And we have had probably a few changes, actually, since we last caught up with podcast listeners. So if you don't kind of follow us anywhere else on YouTube, on Instagram or TikTok, you probably won't know what's happened. But I don't know, Mikey, do you want to go into it and explain? We will get into the normal episode, but I feel like it's probably a good place to like refresh.
We've actually had quite a long break. It wasn't meant to be that long. We finished just before Christmas, didn't we?
I think maybe 2 weeks before Christmas.
A couple of weeks before Christmas, and then we were like, right, we're going to not do the podcast until...
Sorry, my emails are popping off.
Not gonna do the podcast until like the new year. We were away the first week of January, and then when we came back, I think we were just like still feeling like it needed a break.
Yeah, I think so. I think for anyone who listened to the first season, which I'm doing in...
Yeah, we've just said we're not doing seasons.
Yeah.
And then you're like, welcome to season 2.
Yeah, but I mean, because we did season 1, I feel like we have to start something new. But I think just for us, that first kind of set of 9 episodes was a really good opportunity to just trial doing different things and experiment with what worked for us and what didn't. And there were things that worked, were things that didn't. We had so much feedback from people, which was really great. And also so many people missing the podcast and wanting it back, which is so nice because we weren't sure how it would be received. And we do feel like which, I mean, I'm always going to feel like this, but we feel like there's not enough conversation about interiors and from different perspectives.
Well, we have enough of it. Bloody hell.
We talk about it a lot. But I do feel, again, no shade to these people, but I feel like a lot of the narrative of interiors comes from a very specific demographic of people. So it's kind of nice to have different people. And I think that's kind of the intention of the podcast. We want to have conversations about your homes, our home, the way we all like choose to do things in our home, and hopefully have like fun as well and a bit of a laugh. So we're going to carry on with making a cocktail every episode. Obviously for the next few weeks it will be coffee.
I was like, no, a coffee.
No, it will in the future be a cocktail because we love a cocktail. But for now it's a coffee. And we're going to talk about different things every week, which today we're going to be talking all about spring.
Yes,
because
topical.
When you're listening to this or watching this, if you're someone who watches over on YouTube, then
it'll be March.
Yeah, it'll be March.
Which is basically
Is this coming out the first week of March?
I think so, or like the second week or something. But
so
spring
crazy.
officially starts. I looked it up yesterday, the 21st of March. So it'll be
the 20th?
Well, I think winter ends on the 20th.
Oh, okay.
So it'll basically be spring.
And it's spring.
Yeah,
I am very excited for spring.
Me too.
Yeah, I think we go through this every year. Some years I'm like not dreading it, but I love the coziness and the warmth of winter. But I think this year in particular, it feels like the news is very depressing.
Yes.
Like there's a lot going on in the UK, in the government. There's obviously awful things happening all over the world. And I don't know, spring obviously doesn't change that, but it does bring like an air of light.
Yeah, always I feel like spring just like signifies a new start. More than the new year in a way. I know the new year is a big new start, but when the sun starts.
But also,
like, shining,
why?
I
Why
don't
is the new
know.
year? It's so cold and bleak.
To be honest, I think everyone wants a new start every day. Everyone's like,
Every
tomorrow's a new day, next week's a new day, next
So
month's a
true.
new day,
Why
next
are
hour.
humans like
I
that
don't
as well?
know.
Like, we set so many different.
We were talking about this the other day because I
things.
think I think a YouTuber we were watching was talking about how he wasn't going to start his new year until February.
Oh, yeah.
Because he started the first week of January off not very well. He was ill. And we were like, why is he waiting until February? But I completely get why.
I understand.
Because mentally you're like, oh, it's a new month. But why are humans like that? Why do we have to have something to be like new?
I know. I think it's obviously the way humans are built is to, like, we're constantly taught and pushed, like, if you get through this week, you'll be fine. If you get through these 24 hours, like, we measure things in like 24 hours or even 1 hour, 1 minute, in a period. But really, we were actually saying we had an issue recently with just like life, which I will go into in a minute. And we, if I say so myself, just like handled the situation really well.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I feel like maybe you should just say what the situation
I'll just say, oh, Stormy, come.
You trying to have a chat?
Who are you talking to? We basically had, for anyone who didn't know, we listed our house for sale in...
It was actually early December.
Yeah, in December. So, yeah, we listed the house for sale and we had buyers really quickly and unfortunately quite near to the end of the process, really.
Yeah, it had moved really quickly. We were trying to move everything very quickly.
Yeah, because they wanted that as well.
And then like very close before exchange,
they pulled out, which is fine. They're within their right to do that. No shade.
Yeah.
But obviously frustrating for us because changes our plans once again. But I guess on the topic of like fresh starts and being positive and all of those things, I think we handled it really well.
Yeah, I mean,
compared to last year.
The same thing happened last year, and at that point it was really not good.
No.
Like our reaction to it was so bad. We like acted like the world was ending and it didn't go well. Whereas this year, I think I got the call and I was really like anxious, not even about the fact that it fell through, but I was like, oh God, what's this going to mean? Like, how's it going to go down? But we were honestly laughing about it that night. It was frustrating. I'm not saying we were just like, haha, whatever, we don't care. Yeah. It was annoying, but...
And it's such a big thing. Like, we don't want to take away from the gravity of moving home because...
No,
and I put something on Instagram about this and I had some messages from people saying, or one person really, saying like, oh, you're so privileged that like your house sale fell through, cry whatever.
I mean, which we
obviously aren't. There I actually acknowledged that. I'm not denying that is a privileged position. We still have a home that we love. To be honest, we just wanted to relocate. Like, I'm sure if you've listened to the podcast before, you'll know that we've been exploring different options of where we wanted to live. And so for us, it wasn't about not liking our home, all of those things. But yeah, as much as that person is right in saying like, this is a very privileged standpoint, like we own a home, at the same time, you can't take away the fact that your home is it's the most expensive thing you'll buy, the most significant, like...
Yeah, it has such an impact on your life.
Such an impact.
The constant, you spend... not 24/7, but almost 24/7 in your house.
Yeah, also most people now, it's your office, it's your bed, it's your place of rest, where you shower, where you feel good. You do so much from it. So it obviously is a big blow if your plans change. But we are reevaluating.
Yes.
We're thinking of different things we can do.
Looking on the bright side.
We love our house.
Yeah, I think our house loves us. It clearly doesn't want to get rid of us. This is the third time we have had a sale fall through, and every time it's always been for the best. So I think now we're just going to listen to the house and keep it. Because
maybe when the roof falls in, we'll be like, oh, it doesn't want us anymore. Time to sell.
We've actually said the house is kind of like Ziggy. Like, they are... bonded to us and no one else really understands them, and maybe when Ziggy goes is when the house will go, or maybe they'll both live forever and we'll be gone first, probably.
You never know.
I think they've got a plot to get rid of us and live here forever.
Do you actually think that, not that the house's plot, but Monster House.
I have actually, if anyone knows Monster House, this is such a niche reference. It's like a kids animated film where a house like comes to life, but the house is called Constance, and I have started calling our house Constance because I think it is like our wife.
It's breathing. But do you think it is a thing that a house, that you can like form certain connections to certain houses? Like, is that really like mumbo wumbo talk?
Mumbo wumbo. I think it's mumbo jumbo.
What's a wumbo?
I don't know.
Mumbo jumbo.
Nothing rude, but
yeah, like, do you think that beyond spirituality, do you think there is something where it's like maybe even us, like we don't want to part with the house, like maybe something is happening where we're deterring people from completing?
Maybe. I mean, I don't think we did that, but maybe we do. I do really believe, and I've said this a lot, that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah,
but I think that is just a like romantic way of saying that everything works out in the end.
Yeah, I think so.
So I mean, I think in like 6 months' time. Well, already now I feel like I'm so glad it fell through.
Yeah, same.
Which is great because it was only a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it was literally 2 weeks ago.
Like last year when it happened and we were so down about it, 6 months later it was like the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it definitely is for the right thing, and it's sometimes hard when you're in the moment to see that.
Yeah, I agree. But anyway, speaking of keeping the house, and I guess the episode being about spring, there's a lot of updates we're making to the cottage for spring, which is really exciting. And there are some big projects we're planning, like the garden and redoing windows and things like that. They're kind of on the horizons.
Like long-term plans.
They're the long-term plans. But there are definitely some shorter-term things like back with styling, getting those things perfect, which we're doing. And a lot of that, which I guess does come into the spring as well, and like themes for refreshing a home for spring. Yeah, it is massively decluttering, and like there's this big thing about in homeware, and well, I guess every single person on the planet, like having a spring clean. Spring clean, don't you think it sounds like I'm saying sprinkling in like a cute American accent, like hey, we're having a spring clean.
Like Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
Slubbing. Sprinkling.
But yeah, having a spring clean, I feel like I think it is just like an global phenomenon.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
And I feel like so many people get into just completely decluttering, obviously deep cleaning their homes at the start of spring. Yeah. And we normally do ours, well, we've been doing it quite a lot, but we normally do it early spring or late winter, and then also around autumn, like before the Christmas decorations go up.
I think what we have done this year, which has been really nice, is taken the time after all the Christmas decorations come down, because as well, when you're kind of like Christmas is over and you're done with it, it's a really good time to declutter, because you're already taking the tree away, and you kind of feel like, it does feel empty almost, but it's kind of relieving, and it's a good opportunity to kind of like roll with that and just declutter anything that you think like has just ended up being somewhere where it shouldn't be, or you don't love something anymore, or any of that. So we spent January kind of doing that.
Yeah, I would say at least twice a week. Yeah, we've kind of chosen a different area and done some decluttering, and
I honestly could not recommend that.
I know, that's what I was going to say. I feel like if you're looking for a place in your home to start with, just open a drawer. Yeah. Even like your utensil drawer.
Pick something small.
I guarantee right now, if you can.
Well, wait until the end of the episode.
Stand up, get up, stretch your funk stuff. Why do I not know any words to songs? But yeah, go over to a utensil drawer or something that you have, and I almost guarantee there's at least a couple of things in there that you haven't used in a year, and
you don't need them, you're hoarding.
You don't need them, you're hoarding, or they're doubles, and you can get rid of them. And we obviously, I think, have spoken about this on the podcast before, but like Marie Kondo and the art of cleaning and decluttering, and it's something even though that was a craze and a trend probably like 5 years ago now, we still actually do talk about things like that, don't we? We say like, does this spark joy?
And we do say, does this spark joy?
And that's a really good way of doing it. And we've had so many things in this kind of spring cleaning process where we look at them and we say like, does this spark joy? Yeah. And honestly 9 times out of 10, if you're even questioning that, you need to get rid of it, because
you
bought
should know
it
straight away.
You've bought it because it's and this is like the measure we have. Did you buy it in the sale? If so, you probably didn't actually want it. Like, you just bought it because it was cheaper. What some other things that we do,
like, how often really trendy and that trend is now gone?
How often have we used it, and have we used it in the last 6 months?
And also, there are some things that you might never use, but you love them.
That's fine.
And like,
that's
even
different.
knowing that they're in your cupboard, you just want to keep it forever. That's not what we're saying. But there's a lot of things that you have in your house that you just don't need, and like, we've gone through the loft loads, and you just keep finding more that you're like, why do we have this? Why have we kept this? Why have we kept this?
Like, a print. Do you know, we have a print of a dog. Do you know the one? It's blue.
Yes.
So we have that. Like, we've kept it. We've gone through decluttering. We have not had that up.
Yeah, we will never put that up.
Maybe in 6 years.
That one is sentimental to me, though.
I think I bought it.
This is me
for
being
you.
hoarding.
Yeah.
Toby bought it for me when we lived in our first flat.
Yeah.
Was it?
I think it was before.
Or maybe
that.
whenever it was, and I just feel like that's quite sentimental.
I think that's kind of different, and maybe we should write on the back, like, first
like
housewarming gift from Toby to Mikey, because it's obviously nice, and it was like a.
Sorry to just like squash your point.
Yeah, no, but I think the point is that that was in amongst maybe 10 different prints that have not been on the wall in 5 years, but because we paid 50, 100, even more pounds for them, we don't want to get rid of them.
Yeah, you really feel like if you've spent money on something, you should hang on to it.
Yeah.
And we've been like that for a while, and I mean, we're talking like we're experts at this. We're by no means experts. We still have a lot of clutter, but I would actually
say we have a lot of crap.
I have found it's quite good if you make yourself get rid of things that you no longer love but feel like you spent quite a lot of money on.
Yeah.
To almost teach you a lesson.
Yeah, I think
if you keep it, I don't think you learn the lesson, because you're like, oh, well, I kept that for 5 years. So that £200 jumper that I never wore, it still stayed in my wardrobe for 5 years, so it must have been good. And you keep buying more because you're like, no, I'll wear this one. If you throw it, and I'm not saying I threw away a £200 jumper, just an example, but if you give something to the charity shop that you have spent money on but have decided that you only bought that because you're in a different headspace or whatever, I don't think you'll buy it again, because I now feel very conscious of what we're buying, because I'm thinking like, we've done all this decluttering, we've found so much stuff that we did not need.
We essentially wasted
this thing
money
that I want to buy. Like, we have like 1 million candles. Do I need this candle because it smells nice right now and I'm in a moment of wanting?
Yes,
you do.
You need it, guys. And that is the end of this podcast episode.
So
shop.
No, but it does.
Yeah, shop
make
more
you
consciously.
Think a lot more about what you're spending, because you're thinking like, if I could see this monetary value in a year and have to throw away £100 that I'm going to spend now, will I be keeping it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's a good way to actually think about it, is actually the physical money.
Yeah.
If you're buying something, say it's £100, if in a year, well, imagine you've had that thing for a year, which is obviously quite hard to do, but imagine that. Would you rather
have that £100 back?
Have the £100 back and give it back, and if you would, don't buy it, because there's no need, there's no point. So
I feel so inspired. I'm like, should we go start throwing away?
Shall we? Let's go. We've thrown everything away. We don't have anything to throw, but I think that's a really good place to start with spring cleaning. That's kind of what we've done, and we're carrying on doing now for another couple of weeks. And I don't know, in terms of, I have had a little look, obviously, at upcoming trends and stuff for spring.
Yeah.
Because it's my job to do. Like,
but also, you do want to keep up with trends.
Yeah, you do to an extent, but it's, I don't know.
Not even keep up with trends. I think it's more, if there are things that are trendy. I feel like such an old person to say. I've got to that age where I use words like trendy. If you see things that are fashionable or in style or whatever, however you want to say it, you will want them in your home, because that is how marketing works. Like, you're told something is nice, so you want it.
Yeah.
If you're really decluttered, I think you can bring things in that you love, and just like what, like a small thing, or so say like marbles are a really big trend right now. We're not going to change our worktops to be like really intense marble, but you could bring something in that's quite cool, that will stand the test of time,
like a lamp,
and not get rid of it. And when that trend is no longer a thing, you've just got one lamp, you haven't bought like the whole trend.
So if you want to like give that away, donate it, charity, whatever, you can do that without being like, I need to rip up my $5,000 worktop.
Or even just silly stuff, like you might go into like a really affordable homeware shop that does a lot of like fast homeware, like fast fashion, fast homeware, and buy loads of things because they're trendy, and then a year later you're like, oh, that's out of fashion now, I only spent £100 on these 5 things, so I'll just throw them all away. And that's so bad for your pocket, the planet, everything. If you're just buying like consciously what you love, you hopefully should not throw it away.
Exactly. And there are, the conversation of trends is difficult, and we'll go into what we kind of think the spring home trends might look like. But I would say, like Mikey just said, just going into them mindfully of why you're buying it is really important. Like, always ask why, and is it to impress someone? Is it because you actually love it? Is it because you need it?
Or is it because you're unhappy with your house right now, so you're buying it thinking it will make you happy?
And it won't.
Assess the main problem.
Go back to the root of the problem. And I have done that so many times. And I actually think, again, like, I guess closing note on the idea of trends is you don't need to do every trend. And I've learned that. And I've had friends, again, no shade, but who have done that. And say, like, online right now, there is a trend for having like clashing colours. Having like really bold jewel tones are really big in interiors right now, like maybe in a more muted way, but like those deep reds paired with kind of like deep greens, maybe blues are going to be really big this year. Those are really big trends, and I really appreciate them. Like, I look at inspiration images, I look at magazines, and I think like, I love that. Really love it. I love designing things like that, and all of those things. But that doesn't mean I need to buy it and do it.
Like, do you love it to look at, or do you love it
to live with and to bring into your home? And those are two really different things. And I think it's important to be mindful, again, of the fact that you can like something, appreciate it. You can know also that it's cooler. Like, I know that those kind of things are technically cooler and more in trend than my like love for calming neutral interiors. But I know that I shouldn't be changing my whole style for that, because
something else.
Because it's not me, it's not authentic. And I've put a lot of time personally, you can answer this for yourselves, but I've put a lot of time and effort into developing a style that I feel really comfortable with. I think I think you love as well. And it feels like right for us. So if I suddenly decided, say like white kitchens, I listened to a podcast recently and they said like white kitchens are so done, like no, you shouldn't do this, it looks so clinical, blah blah blah. I don't feel like our white kitchen is at all clinical.
No.
Because we've made it really warm and homely, and we've added texture with ceilings and lamps. And
exactly.
So for me, I'm like, I'm not going to just paint my kitchen green because that's what Instagram tells me to. So I feel like, take these trends and all trends just with a big pinch of salt. And obviously I and we are a part of the problem for even talking about them and bringing light to them. But it's also nice to stay
but it's a part of life, I guess. They're there to be... Everything has come from a trend at some point. So if you're following what you love, then you shouldn't follow trends.
It's also following a trend
that inspires you.
Like someone somewhere will always find what you're doing to be the most fashionable and trendy. And trends come back around as like haircuts. Like I saw a thing the other day on TikTok being like the Rachel, as in Jennifer Aniston's haircut in Friends, is going to be the haircut of 2024. And that was, when was that? Like late 90s?
So it
comes back. It always comes back around. And that's why I'm not going to throw that much stuff away, because especially if I love it.
It's the stuff that we're throwing away is the stuff that we've bought almost...
Not throwing away, sorry.
Giving away.
Yeah.
The stuff that has been bought through probably trying to keep up with the trend.
Yeah, that isn't
that
us.
Wasn't really what we wanted.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess trends for spring this year.
Yes.
So I've done some research. I'll actually get up some of the things that I was looking at because I was reading an article, and I guess this is trends for 2024 in design, but I think a lot of those trends start in spring.
Yeah, because they'll then do like autumn.
Yeah,
like
spring, summer
year.
feels like, because autumn, winter will have been kind of last year that came out. So, okay, the first one, and I actually really think this is a big thing, and I love this,
right,
is having like real statement pieces.
What do you mean?
So with like main furniture pieces, instead of having like filler pieces,
right,
having like interesting conversational pieces that kind of like make up the core of your interior. So rather than having maybe like a really standard chest of drawers that's just like unpurposely put there,
right,
you have something that you've really gone with for either its color, its form, it's an antique, it has a story.
Right, okay.
So like, rather than just having a chair because it's there and it's comfortable, being like, actually, I've gone for this chair because it's got this material, it's been made in this way, it looks like visually very interesting, that kind of thing.
Right, okay.
Do you know what I mean? So instead of going for like, which I think has been a problem in interiors for a while, instead of going for the most simple thing, like a really simple chest of drawers that are painted like black or white,
almost like very functional, makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of doing that, maybe being like, well, what do I actually love, and bringing that into your home. So again, it's not kind really
the same with what we were just saying, like picking something that you love because you love it.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost weirdly not being trend focused, and even if you're choosing like a really minimal chest of drawers or something, choosing them for the fact that they're so clean, minimal, and like form focused,
that's what you love,
that's what you're going for. I think maybe it's choosing furniture with intention,
and so you just mean for like one-off pieces,
not everything. I think so. Like, here it says, like even your smallest side table could make the biggest statement. So, which I think is really nice. Again, like what Mikey was saying about marble. You can get some really nice, like Calcutta marble side tables. Which would look so nice in just a really neutral, simple house. And if you don't want to spend 10 grand on redoing your worktops, who does? You can spend still a lot, probably like 800 or 1,000 on a side table that you can move room to room, you can sell, can...
if you decide you no longer want it there, you could repurpose it somewhere else.
Exactly. So that's good. Okay, another trend. It says new neutrals.
New neutrals?
Yeah, which I think this has actually been going on for a long time, but kind of like Scandi inspired neutrals. So going away from cooler tones and bringing in like, I guess like pink and yellow hues and very like beigey hues. I actually think that's more relevant to last year. I think this spring things seem to be going more, like I said already, like kind of the jewel tones, or they can still have warmth in them, but particularly, which makes me really sad to say because we're not that anymore, but like the younger generation, they are definitely into like the cleaner,
aesthetic,
sleeker look, like antique brass, gold, they're a thing of the past. Everyone wants chrome. Everyone wants like brushed nickel.
Metals are such a trend that...
Oh my god, that noise really scared me. Sorry.
Metals are such a thing of trend that they come around so quickly. It'll be like chrome, copper, brass, almost on rotation every 2 years. So
so true.
If you have a metal that you think is out of fashion, it will be in fashion next year.
Some other big trends that I guess, like just scrolling through this, that are coming up, there's a lot of stuff about kitchens and utilities. So one wall kitchens, I've actually seen this quite a lot on like Pinterest, Instagram, of people saying this is going to be a trend, but instead of having like
a surrounding yourself kitchen.
For a house like ours, if you know what our home looks like, that's quite difficult to do because it wouldn't work. But if you have kind of an open plan room, the trend is just having maybe one wall, the biggest wall, covered in cabinetry.
Yeah.
And then having the rest of the room just open, so you can move furniture, you can have it as like a multi-purpose space. If you have a party, you can clear everything and just have a wall of cabinetry. And it can look really striking as well, I think. Yeah, nice. I like the idea of that. Again, it's kind of lending itself to like sleek, modern minimalism, and also really practical design, because you can use it for like so many different purposes, which is good. I guess other like quicker fixes for keeping your home up with trends and stuff, particularly thinking about spring, are things like fabrics, like accessories, soft furnishings, that kind of stuff. And I've seen a lot about ruffles this year.
Oh yeah.
Being a really big thing. So again, really depends on your design style, and that's like what we were saying about trends, but there's definitely like a trend for, I don't know if you've seen this, but ruffled cushions, but also kind of like ruffled chairs.
Oh.
And they're almost like skirted chairs.
Oh, okay.
Do you know the ones I mean? And they're almost like frilled at the bottom. Yeah. And that kind of, I don't want to say like granny chic.
Kind of though, yeah.
It is kind of that. And
it's like an old fashioned classic style.
Yeah. We actually went to my sister's house last night for my mum's birthday. And she had a quilt which my grandma gave her, you know, the one, and
it was from when Lily was a baby, wasn't it?
It was, I think maybe before even that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and because my grandma said that she used it for all of the grandkids, and she's now given it to my sister who's having a baby. Ooh, my goodness, like so 2 weeks soon. After this podcast is released.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like she's reusing that, and we were looking at it and we were like, this is
cool.
Honestly something now that you'd probably spend like a few £100s on in a really like bougie, cool London.
Yeah, it had like ruffled edges.
Yeah, it had like maybe a blue and red pattern over it, and ruffles all the way around, and it was quite cool looking.
Yeah, it would be cool today.
And I don't know, I think that's a good way of, if you do love that kind of, I don't know what the word, like, it's not like thrown together, kind of like eclectic style, less minimalist.
Yeah.
I think bringing in ruffles and stuff this spring will be a really good way of doing that. I know M&S have some nice ruffle cushions.
Yeah, they do, in nice colours.
So, yeah, that's definitely worth a look. Yeah. Other things, sorry, I'm just looking on my phone again to see if there's a lot of things this year about like sofa shapes. I guess more handmade things is a really big thing, and that's been definitely probably the last 5 years coming up and up. But even now, the main kind of high street shops and retailers are starting to sell things that like will say handmade or handcrafted, or they look
really unique, and like they've got wobbly edges, and it feels very handmade.
And I think anything you can have in your home now that is handmade, kind of like tiles that are hand painted or a vase that's been painted by an artist, it's a really good way of, again, having something that feels really unique and special to you.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that maybe, I know this episode is about spring, and we will give a few ways that you can actually add spring, but I think thinking more long term, for us in particular, seasonal decorating and adding seasonality into your home is more than just buying a couple of stems and buying a sage green cushion for spring, or a yellow vase or something. And it's more thinking like, okay, what gives the feeling of spring? Like maybe looking at the outdoors and thinking like, which birds remind us of spring, which trees are good in spring, and maybe investing this year in 1 or 2 vases or cushions that have those patterns on that you can get out for the next few months for spring and summer, and then you can put away again, and when you get it out next year again you'll love it. And it's not about just like quickly buying something that you'll throw away and just to colour, and it's actually thinking like long term, what can I do? And I feel like, sorry, I'm just talking and not letting you get a word in, Mikey, but I think, again, brands like Neptune.
Yes.
So I'm sure some of you will know that the brand Neptune, they release, I don't know if they still do, but they release paint colours every spring, summer, autumn, winter, I think that's such a thing of the past.
Yeah. No one's going to repaint their home for spring or summer.
Yeah, and I understand the intention is to inspire people to use colour, and I think that is amazing, and I loved that kind of ethos that they had. But now, knowing more about design and like making a home, I really feel like it shouldn't be like on a, what's the word when you have like a straight journey? I don't know what that is. Like, it shouldn't be like, so every April I repaint all of my accessory or whatever in this new colour or this. It should be like, I have my core spring palette, which maybe, say for our home, maybe it's a quite cool terracotta and a zingy orange, I don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe we bring those colours in every spring, and maybe the patterns that we like to bring in are like some swallows and some oak leaves. That feels quite autumnal, oak leaves, but I don't know, something. And maybe we this year try and get an artist to paint a really lovely vase that we can bring out every year with some nice seasonal foliage in. And it's not just something we've gone on to like Zara or whatever and just bought for the sake of it. And even though obviously we'll still do that, it's
you're like, I'm not shopping on Zara.
I'm not, but it's good to think about things in that way.
God, this keeps coming back to like shopping consciously.
Yeah, I do. I think, again, probably the biggest trend of this year will be.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is getting bigger and bigger. In the world, but especially for us right now, I do feel like we are so on that, which is probably why it keeps coming back to that. Yeah,
it's such an important thing though. Like, beyond your own life and your own home, it's something that, you know, if you take care in what you're buying, it will actually help future generations. Yeah, definitely. And it will also help yourself. Like, it means you have less stuff.
Yeah, I think that is why actually part of the reason is why that has come up is because we were thinking we were moving.
Yeah.
We were starting to think about packing everything, or we had started packing some stuff up, and you realize how much stuff you have when you're doing that, and you're like, wow, there's so much stuff that I've just kept in the loft or a cupboard or a box or whatever, and it does make you think, why am I holding on to all of this stuff? It's just like weighing me down.
Yeah, agreed.
Mentally and physically, and it's just not worth it. So if you can declutter this spring,
do it, and don't bring much in.
No.
Good ways, I would say, of if you're looking to update your home for spring. Okay, step 1, I know we've gone through all of this, but declutter.
Yeah.
Step 2, bring in only 1 or 2 like really lovely considered pieces that you feel will work with your home going forward in your style, not just something that's in the like hottest color, the hardest color. And I would also say another one is literally just bringing the outdoors in.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you were like, don't just bring in some stems, but honestly,
sorry, I was thinking like faux stems.
I know. But in spring, I do think bringing in greenery, like living greenery, makes a really big difference to even just adding a little bit of green in your kitchen or your bathroom, like a fern or
some herbs,
anything that's alive. Oh, the light died.
Our lights died for anyone watching on YouTube. Sorry. Should we get a new one?
Maybe.
Do you think it's okay? I think we're
very near the end. So.
Yeah.
Any greenery that you can bring in, I do think that makes a really big difference. Just like looking at it makes you feel springy.
Yeah,
it does just feel, it's like adding a Christmas tree at Christmas makes you feel Christmassy.
Yeah,
it does just make you feel like like alive and things are growing.
And you can, if you're like worried about foraging or something, you can go to a florist. You can get literally a bunch of stems. You can go on Etsy and get preserved stems so they last for 3 to 6 months.
Or just a potted plant.
Yeah, just go to a garden
survives
centre.
Indoors.
I guess on the same topic as well as fragrance, and
I always love a new fragrance.
Bringing like maybe 2-3 candles throughout the home, in like 1 or 2 downstairs and 1 upstairs in the bathroom or whatever, that will immediately
just gives you a feeling.
Give a feeling of spring. And it doesn't again need to be like a brand new fragrance that a brand has launched. It can be as simple as going to supermarket, looking, maybe Google actually what's seasonal in spring in the UK, and go to a supermarket and see which candles they have that fragrance in. That's a really easy way of being like, okay, that must smell like spring, because
even like you can get just like things that smell like lemons. I feel like smell very springy.
Especially if you cut them.
Zesty, you could cut them, roast them, put them roast them, dry them out, whatever, however you do that in the oven. That's an easy way of like adding a scent around your home that you don't have to have candles lit. I know a lot of people don't love candles.
And also don't need to spend loads of money.
Yeah, it's just a nice way of like bringing something in that feels like hopeful and springy.
Yeah, for sure. One final thing, I guess, has come to my mind, which we always do. So this will be the last point, unless you have anything else to say, Mikey.
Well, what if you say something and then I remember? No, I'm joking.
Okay. Last thing, again, just shop your home. Like, if you want to refresh your home for spring, which we've done, just swap some lamps over. Yeah. Swap, like, move your bedside lamps into your living room and vice versa. Yeah. Maybe put on some bedding, swap a throw from your living room to your bedroom. Yeah. I would just like change a few things.
It's not about buying stuff.
Yeah, you don't need to buy new things, and that will really help it feel fresh for spring and it will keep you like interested and excited about your home, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Just one more, joking.
I was like, not another one. I said that in a vlog the other day. And
well, it keeps coming around.
Is it Brenda from Bristol?
Yeah, it's Brenda from Bristol.
Brenda from Bristol. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that was a nice way to get started, talking about freshness and decluttering and all of those. That was a little
spring clean of the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. But we really hope you'll be here for, I guess, the future. We're going to be back every week now. So every Friday there'll be a new episode, and really hope you enjoy. If you could please just spare a minute or less just to review us. Yes. It really does help. What does it help do, Mikey?
It boosts our reach, does it?
I don't really know.
I don't know.
It just makes us feel good.
I think it makes you have more of a presence on whatever platform you're reviewing us on. So
and we also want to talk more about design and different things, and also inspire people to talk about design. So the more people we reach, the better. And if you have any nice words to say, please share them with us. You can either email us or leave them here. But please do that.
Please do that. Please subscribe.
Yes, thank you.
Cool. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
Thanks
Cheers
so much.
with the
Cheers
coffee.
For the empty coffee.